Welcome, everybody. So this is the Friday support call. I'm Stephen Carlson. Our host this week is Yvonne Spence. So good to see you. Yvonne has been using the Sedona Method since 2008. She first took the facilitator training in 2016. She's a writer and coach and loves supporting people to find freedom where previously they felt stuck in difficult emotions and thinking. She particularly loves to facilitate people to break free of the prison of self-criticism, guilt, and shame, and to find the love that is in every living being. Welcome, Yvonne.
Hi.
You were talking about exactly loving thyself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes. Because as we were saying a few moments ago, I think it's the most important thing. If you can't love yourself, how can you love anybody else? It has to start with us. Mm. Lovely to see all these wonderful people on the call.
Yes. Well, I'm going to just turn the call over to you. I think we're all eager to learn how to love ourselves. Maybe you could use that as a springboard for a support call.
Yes, I think it's a good springboard for a support call. So that's kind of the focus that we're going to have is on noticing where we maybe don't 100% love ourselves, the little bits that get in the way, and then welcoming that actually, because before we can begin to let anything go, we need to welcome it first. And I'm a big fan of welcoming, much more so than I am of trying to let go, because for me, letting go has quite often been trying. So I'll be doing lots of welcoming or inviting you to do lots of welcoming while we do this call. And I don't that often start support calls with a group release, but for some reason it feels like the right thing to do just now. So that is what I'm going to do. So, and it is, guess what, going to be on just what we've just been talking about being loving with yourself. And my favorite way to release has all for years been, you probably not be surprised since I just talked about how much I love welcoming, the triple welcoming. So we're going to go through the triple welcoming with this, and who else, who knows what else will come up, because that we're not in control here. It just does what it does. So I invite you all just to think of some area in your life where you maybe are a little bit judgmental about yourself. You think you should be doing something differently than you are, or that you're not good enough in some area.
Yeah.
Just any kind of feeling at all that there might be of not being enough.
Yeah.
And however that shows up,
Yeah.
could you just welcome it? And in fact, I'd invite you just now to notice how it shows up, because with any issue, there's quite a few different ways that it shows up. There might be thoughts, there might be sensations in the body, there might be feelings, or there might be a mixture of all of that. So could you just welcome as best you can, however that appears to you in this moment? And usually when we notice something like this, something where we think we're not enough or not good enough or something's wrong, the next feeling that appears or thought that appears is wanting to get rid of it, not wanting to have it, or just wanting to do something about it. So can you welcome any wanting to get rid of it that might be there? Could you allow yourself, give yourself permission to want to get rid of this issue just as much as you do? And then could you also welcome any holding on to it? And the ways that we hold on are not always as obvious as the wanting to get rid of something. So one way that we often hold on is by trying to figure out what to do about it. So can you welcome any sense of wanting to get rid of this problem, this thing that's not right about you? Or you might even be justifying it, explaining why you need to change. And that's another way we hold on. So if that's there, could you just welcome that too? Could you just allow it to be here in this moment? Could you even give yourself permission just to want to hold on to your problem? And then if you notice, one of the ways that we hold on, in fact, the way that most of us hold on the most is because it feels really personal. So if this feels personal, this thing that you think should be different about you, could you just welcome how personal it feels? Could you notice that sense that this is you, or it means something about you? And it rarely means something good when we're trying to get rid of it. So could you just welcome that sense that this is about you? And then could you notice, are you actually that thought, that feeling, whatever that story is that you're telling yourself about you? Or is it just something that's appearing in your mind? Maybe even a memory, an image from the past. And if it wasn't here, would you still exist? Would there still be a you without this belief about yourself? So in other words, I think you can probably see that it's not you. So would it be okay to let it go? Would it be okay if this feeling dissolved, this thought, this issue melted away? And one of the ways that we also hold on to these feelings about ourselves, habits that we don't like, things that we think should change, is because we punish ourselves for them. Very innocently, we think if we tell ourselves off, we might be able to force ourselves to be different. If we push and shove and try to make change happen. But just think about it for a moment. The thing that you've been trying to change the most and you haven't yet changed. Has all that pushing and forcing ever worked? So could it be that you've pushed and forced enough? Could it be that you've punished yourself enough? And could you open to the possibility that maybe it's okay to treat this part of you with kindness, with love, with compassion? You don't need to fully believe that, but just open to it as a possibility is enough. So if there's any remaining sense of wanting to judge or of wanting to try and force change upon yourself, could you just welcome that? And then could you just allow that to dissolve? And could you open to treating yourself with loving kindness instead? Could you notice what's here when there's no thinking about this problem? What's here in this moment, both before thought and after thought? What's here right now in this moment? And could that be enough? Okay, thank you. So, who has something that they would like to work with? The floor is open to questions, sharing, and assistance. Oh, Maxine.
I see Maxine has her hand up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yvonne. That was really lovely, just lovely.
Oh,
And
thank you.
there was a lot of confusion that surfaced as a result. And one of the things that I'm wanting to change is my relationship with food. I overeat, and part of the overeating is for pleasure, for comfort. And a memory came up. I was very, very young, maybe 6 or 7. And on Sundays, Sunday mornings, it was kind of my mother's time with us, and she would fix our favorite breakfast, and we would just sit around the table and talk. And it felt very loving to, socialize around food. And so there's a part of me that makes the connection that, to feel that comfort, to feel that love, it's connected with food. I experience it today when I'm out with friends and, we were getting together around a meal. And yet at the same time, it's also problematic, that
Uh-huh.
I tend to, go unconscious as a way to kind of soothe myself. So, can you either talk a little bit about that, or could we do maybe a little release
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
about that? And I want to also say that there's a Buddhist practice around loving kindness, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful, and I use it quite often. And yet, with the mind as cunning as it is, there's a way that practice of loving kindness after a certain point, months or days or what have you, it seems to drop off.
Okay.
The mind tells, I kind of like get busy doing something else. So, yeah, a lot of confusion around
Uh-huh.
the
So
issue for me.
I'm going to go back to something that you said right at the start. You said I overeat.
Yes.
Says who? What does
Um,
overeat actually mean? What does overeat actually mean?
that maybe more specifically, that I go unconscious around food, that I
Okay.
eat it having no sense of, am I hungry, or
Okay.
what's triggering the reaching for the food.
Okay. So does that feel very personal, that it's something to do with you and it means something about
Oh,
you?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought it possibly did. Yeah. So can you notice how personal that feels?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. And can you welcome that sense? Can you feel where you feel it in your body that this means something about me?
Yes.
Yeah. And what if that's not true? What if it just is a thought?
Uh, I think, to be honest, I think both are true, that it is just a thought. And there's
Mm-hmm.
so much history attached to that thought
Uh-huh.
that it's definitely masquerading as me.
Uh-huh. So it's masquerading as you, but are you that?
Am I the thought?
Yeah. Or I'm actually going to ask this another way. So there's a sense of me. You can get a sense of me in there.
Yes. Mhm.
And is there also love?
Yes.
Yes. So can you allow that sense of me to be here?
Yes.
And then can you also allow that sense of love? Can you just allow the love?
Truly. Yes.
Yeah. And can you fully welcome that sense of me?
Yes.
And is the love in any way threatened by that sense of me?
No.
No. So would it be okay if the sense of me just dissolves into the love?
Yes.
Yeah. And does that love have any objection to what you eat or how you eat? Or whether you sometimes eat not because you're hungry, but for pleasure? No.
No attachment to that thought whatsoever.
No. So could it be that the mind was just looking for a problem?
Well, there's quite a bit of evidence to
Uh-huh.
support
Well, the mind will
the
come up with evidence. That's part of the mind's job. If you tell it to look for evidence, it will do it. But what if that's just the mind being a good little kid and doing what it thinks it should be doing?
And I guess up to this point, I've kind of relied on my thinking to kind of help me
Yeah.
figure out when I've gone astray. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. And then punished yourself for it.
well, with respect, but on so many levels, but with respect to overeating,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm above like a balanced body weight. So my mind kind of creates the evidence that, see, this is the result of
Yeah.
the unconscious eating.
Uh-huh. And what if it's actually not the result of that? It's just what is in this moment.
I'm clueless. Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, I don't need to figure it out, but
No.
that's,
Yeah, because
yeah,
the mind's been very busy trying to figure it out. Yeah.
constantly. Yes.
Yeah.
And it hasn't gotten me anywhere.
No, I was about to ask
It's,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
So would
it's
it
not able to solve it's not
Mhm.
able to make make a difference or
So yeah.
so.
Would it be worth just opening to love, to that love?
I'm sorry, would it be
Would it be
worth it?
worth just opening to that love and just allowing love to guide you instead of the mind?
Totally new concept.
Mhm.
I mean, lovely. Uh,
And you don't have to know how to do that either. All it takes is a little bit of willingness.
yeah, obviously, I don't know how to do that. That's
No,
clear.
none of us do.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know how to do that. I know how to open to love, and
Yes.
I'm willing. I think for me, it's really just being willing to be open and receptive to that is huge. And yes,
Yeah.
I am. Yes.
Good. Well, what if that's all it takes? We make this so much work, and yet there's far less work involved than what we think there is sometimes, or what the mind thinks.
I it's a lovely idea and possibility, but the mind is fighting, wanting.
Okay, so can you welcome that fight that the mind's putting up? Could you just allow that to be here, that fight? Could you even give the mind some love?
Mm,
That's what minds do. It's the mind's job. And does that mind want control, approval, security, separation, or oneness?
it definitely wants control and security.
Yeah. So could you
Yeah.
just fully welcome that wanting of control and security?
Yes.
And then could you allow the wanting to dissolve?
Yes.
And what's here now?
Mm. I feel pretty floaty.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, my mind has quieted down, and
Minds do quiet when we give them some love.
mm, lovely.
Mm.
Thank you.
Does that feel complete?
It does.
Okay,
It does.
good.
And I don't have a clue, and I don't
No.
really care about how things kind of unfold. So,
No, they'll do
yeah,
what they do. Thank you. Thank
exactly.
you.
Yeah,
Lovely
thank
working
you.
with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see Deborah has her hand up.
Yeah.
Hi. Well, he said my name is Deborah. So I had a small gain from the release that you just did with Maxine, so thank you. Because I think
Okay.
I've also uh in my recent past referred to myself as eating unconsciously, and I guess when I stopped, I lost weight, so I lost like 70 pounds. So but that rest of it was just the language, I guess, referring to myself as unconscious that helped me to release that. So that was a gain. And then the gain that I wanted to share initially was that uh, I wanted to make a goal of meditating for the month of March, but in February, every time I kept trying to meditate, it just wasn't happening. I just kept getting distracted. And so then I beat myself up, and then I realized, oh, I needed to release on control, which is, always there. So I released on control and I started meditating. I made up a schedule of when I'm going to meditate and when I'm going to do it. And then if I'm not able to, or I have to move it or change it, I've just been accepting of that and not beating myself up. So, which is a huge gain. So that's
That's
what
wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
really pleased to
and
hear that you're not beating yourself up. Wonderful.
yeah, I guess I could if we had a little bit, could you do a group release on control? Because
On
that always
control.
that always seems to come up for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, trying to
O-
control
on wanting
situations.
control and feeling out of control.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it, right? Yep,
Yeah.
that's
Is it
it.
specifically on wanting to control yourself or just wanting to control in general?
Wanting control of myself because I feel like I don't really have control anywhere else. And I'm
Uh-huh.
always wanting to feel like I have some control somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And if I could release of wanting it, then I would be able to realize more easier that I actually do have control once I stop
Yeah.
wanting
Oh,
control.
okay. So does it feel to you then that the opposite of wanting control is having control?
I hope so. At least that's what I've
Okay.
been using thus far.
I'm going to suggest something different and see how this lands for you. What if it's not about having control, but it's just about allowing flow?
Okay, now my mind is just boom, blah. Okay, never considered that. I figured the not having, the opposite would be having. Okay, so uh can you say that again? Or can you release
Well,
on
what if it's just actually flow, just basically being in flow, just allowing flow, however life shows up, just being in the flow of life?
never done that before. I always figured I had to figure it out, control it, and make it happen. And when I
Yeah,
didn't, I beat myself up. I've
yeah.
never just been in flow. That feels
Mm.
scary, like I wouldn't know what to do.
Okay, and what if there's nothing you need to know how to do it? Whether it's just, I mean, can you control flow?
I don't know because I'm not exactly certain
What I
if I've
mean,
ever
no, I
been,
can see
if
that
I've
that
ever,
could be tricky. Yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
not sure I've ever actually been in flow.
Well, how you? You're not sure that you've ever actually been in flow.
No, I've had moments where I didn't feel scared or I didn't feel afraid or wasn't trying to do something or didn't, beat myself up with my thoughts. So,
I
there's
would
been
call
times,
that flow. Yeah,
oh, okay. Well, then I guess I've experienced flow. I just didn't call it that. I was just glad that
yeah,
there was a moment that I wasn't freaking out.
mm, yeah.
So,
Well,
how can we release on how to enter flow then
well,
or
let's.
realize it?
Yeah. So you said you would like a group release. I'm happy to do that, and I'm also happy to work directly with you. It doesn't matter. Which would you prefer?
Uh, okay, well, I guess now that I realize that I didn't even know what flow was, I guess one-on-one people should still benefit though, yeah?
Yeah, of course they'll still benefit. Yeah, of course they will. Yeah. I mean, you were feeling benefit from listening to Maxine release. So
Oh
yeah, of
yeah,
course. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So can you,
uh
well, what's here right now when you're thinking about it in this moment?
trepidation, fear.
Trepidation. Okay.
Yeah.
So
'Cause now I'm not
can
sure
that,
what do I do with that? And I've never considered that. Like, okay, whoo.
okay. So there's
It was kind-
trepidation, and it sounds like maybe a bit of wanting to figure it out going on there as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wanting to figure it out because now you said something that I just didn't even want to consider. I was just happy just to be meditating for an hour a day without beating myself up. And now you're talking about flow. I don't know what that is. Now my mind's just running around going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my
Okay.
God. Yeah.
Okay. So could you just give the mind some love for all it's wanting to understand and wanting to figure it out?
Uh, yes.
Yeah. And is there
Okay.
any wanting rid of that to not be feeling like that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because I
So,
thought I was in control and now I feel out of control again.
okay. So can you welcome, or can you just have some compassion and meet that with love, that feeling of feeling out of control?
Hmm.
Can you give the you that feels out of control some love?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. What if it's okay to be feeling the way you are right now?
Just weirded out and not knowing. Uh, uh, yes, I guess, as long as no one sees me doing it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So is
Whew.
there some sense that you should be feeling differently, that there's something wrong with how you're feeling?
Uh, Not before I started trying to figure out what flow was. No, I felt okay.
Okay. But right now in this moment.
Yeah, I'm still
Yeah,
like,
okay.
oh my God. And everybody knows
Okay.
that I know what flow is. So yeah,
Well,
everything's, yeah.
everything means something different to different people. You know, one person might think it means something. So it's what it means to you that really matters, not what it means to anybody else.
Hmm.
But in this moment, could you just welcome all that confusion, that wanting to figure it out, and the slight judgment that's in there about yourself as well that you should
Oh
know?
yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
always there. My constant companion. Uh,
that's a constant companion.
uh, yeah.
Yeah. And how successful has that been at getting you to understand or
Oh,
to
not very much at all.
you
So we
know?
just we wrestle, and I feel like some days I win, and some days I
Mm,
do not.
yeah, and that's what minds do. Could it be possible that you've judged yourself enough?
Yes,
Yeah.
that could
And
be.
could you open to treating yourself with loving kindness?
Ah, yes, I am open to it. It just, I don't know if it's working yet.
Well, what if you don't need to know what to do? Just being open to it is enough.
Uh, that would be great. Yes,
Mm,
I could say yes to that.
good, good, good. Wonderful. And
Hmm.
how are you feeling now?
Uh, Still a little bit off kilter. Just like, okay, I've got to add something new, or
What
still
if there's
want.
nothing, what if there's nothing to add? What if there's absolutely nothing to add?
Uh, hmm,
What if maybe it's less work than what it seems rather than more?
that sounds great.
Mm.
It sounds
Our minds
wonderful.
love to make things more complicated than what they are. But in my experience, the less we do, as far as loving ourselves and releasing goes, the more effective it is. The more we try to control our releasing, the more we get caught up in trying to control rather than actually allowing the releases just to happen.
Oh,
Because minds settle by themselves when we don't give them a lot of pushing and shoving. They do just settle.
hmm, that is a
There's an
thought.
analogy that I quite often use. Several people on this call will have heard me say it before, but if a small child comes to you crying and you tell it to go away, what happens?
Oh my God, I don't know if I could do that. I don't. I'd cry. I couldn't.
Yeah, if a small child comes to you crying and you tell her to go away, she cries even more. And yet that's what we do to our thoughts and feelings constantly. We think we need to get rid of them and that we should be different than we are. But when you hold it and say,
Oh,
oh, what happens then?
ah, huh. I guess there'll be some uncomfortableness, or I don't know, you'll be either feel uncomfortable, or maybe there'll be some hugging. I'm not
Mhm.
sure.
Generally, they settle more easily with love than with being told to just behave or whatever. And it's the same with our
Okay.
minds. When we're loving with our minds, they settle more easily.
Okay.
Does that make
Wow.
sense?
That totally makes sense. So
Yeah.
simple. Wow.
So could you give your mind some love for all it's wanting to control and wanting to figure out and wanting to understand?
Ah, give me a second. Whew. Yes.
Yeah. And how does that feel now?
I don't know. I may need to still release a little bit. It felt, all I heard was, I still have work to do.
Okay,
In
so
order-
can
in
you
order to get
welcome
it.
that thought that you still have work to do? It's
Ah,
okay to welcome that too.
yes.
That's just the way the mind is trying to help. So again, can you just give it some love? Maybe even say thank you to it for trying to help.
Yes. Huh. That I can do. I have said those words before today. So yes,
Good.
I can.
How
Ah,
does that feel now?
relieved. It feels peaceful.
Good.
I'm not running around like with scissors, crazy and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. That was great. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
So I see next is MFT. That could only be Marie-Françoise.
Hello, Yvonne.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Fancy meeting you here from yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, after our call, I got an audition, an opportunity for something, for a goal I've had for a long time now. And it's today, and it came yesterday. And so I've been spending all night. I meant to go to bed early, but I couldn't. I had to try to learn the lines and get the character. And so I got to tape it in about a couple of hours, and I'm still nervous about the lines. I don't think I really know them well enough. And I'm just like, I'm scared and having like imposter syndrome or something. I just feel kind of like I don't want to sabotage myself. And I feel like I really want to book it, which might be the wrong energy to have. And I'm just, I'm nowhere near hootlessness where I don't care either way. So I'm just like, I guess I'm scared, and
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck up, basically.
Okay.
So I'm stuck trying to get approval or something. I don't know.
Yes. So can you welcome the fear, first of all? Can you just allow it to be here?
And you fucked me up. I couldn't say anything to say I was next.
Yes.
Barbara, we hear you, honey.
Yes.
Okay, good. And can you just give yourself some love for feeling that fear?
Well, I can do the self-compassion thing.
Good. That's absolutely
I don't
fine.
know
The
if I can.
self-compassion thing is brilliant. That's perfect.
I
Can you
do
give
it.
yourself some self-compassion for feeling that fear?
Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah. And then can you welcome any wanting rid of it? Any stories your mind is making up about why you need to get rid of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then would it be okay just to let those stories dissolve?
Both stories? Which are the both stories?
The stories about why you need to get rid of the fear.
Oh, right.
Because there was quite a few of them, wasn't there?
Yes. I won't be grounded in I won't be grounded in the character if I'm me personally.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I feel. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So
let that
can you
go.
can you welcome those stories?
Yes.
Because again, it's just the mind trying to help.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you can maybe even give the mind some thanks. Say thank you to the mind for all its attempts to help.
Thank you.
And then would it be okay to let those thoughts just dissolve and settle?
Yes.
Good. And what's here right now?
Well, I said yes, but then my mind said, I hope so. I hope it's okay to let it go. Maybe I need to pay attention to them and do something about it.
Okay, so can
Like,
you welcome that? The
to
mind
get rid of
coming
it.
in and yeah. So can you welcome the mind's feeling that maybe it needs to be careful and pay attention and all that?
Yes.
Yeah. And can you give the mind some compassion for that as well?
Yes.
Yeah. And what if you don't need to get rid of those thoughts? What if it's okay for them to be there?
Okay.
Yeah. Because when we think we need to get rid of something, then we gear up for a fight, don't we? So what happens when you just allow them to be here? Just in this moment.
I felt a little quieter.
Yeah.
Mm.
And is there also compassion?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So can you welcome any remaining thoughts that might be there? Any remaining worried thoughts?
Yes.
And then can you welcome compassion?
Yes.
And can you welcome any remaining worried thoughts?
Yes.
Any wanting to figure it out or know what to do about it? Can you welcome that?
Yes.
And then can you welcome compassion?
Yes.
And do the worried thoughts affect the compassion in any way, or is the compassion safe, whatever?
Do the thoughts?
Do they disturb the compassion, or is the compassion able to hold the thoughts? I think is more what I'm saying here, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a bit confusing to the mind. I'll ask something else that I know can help quite a bit for you. So what's here when the thoughts fall away?
Mm.
What are you noticing?
It's just quiet.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Mm. And what if that's always there, even when the thoughts come?
Okay.
So could you possibly pay a little bit more attention to the quiet? Would you be willing to pay attention to the quiet as much as to the thoughts?
Yes.
Yeah, good. How does that feel now?
It feels better. Much.
Good.
So
Yeah.
if my thoughts gonna get revved up again.
And they might, yeah.
Yeah, because I've got stuff to do beforehand, and I'm just like I'm pressed for time, and see they already are going. So how do I switch my attention to the quiet? Like
What do you think? What do you think? What would you do to switch your attention?
maybe notice that those thoughts are happening.
Yeah. Yes. That sounds pretty good to me. Just noticing. Noticing is very neutral. We don't have to try and change anything when we just notice. And then they dissolve by themselves,
Okay.
which is pretty much what you've been doing just now, or
Yeah.
what's been happening just now. You've not been doing it, it's just been happening. So just again, just notice what's here when thinking falls away.
Okay. Oh, I
Yes.
see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And all the very best for your audition.
Thank you.
Mm. Who do we have now? Is Barbara still here?
I don't see any hands, and Barbara's left the call.
Oh, has she? Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So are we done? Does anybody have anything they would like to either share or get assistance with? Ah,
Oh, I do.
Susan.
Exactly.
Did someone raise their hand?
Susan has raised her hand, I think.
Oh, okay. Let me mute then.
Sorry, Susan, can you unmute, please?
We can come back to her maybe.
Yeah, I've requested she unmute, but I'm not so sure she knows how to. Unmute
Oh,
not
unmute
working.
not working. Oh, okay.
Not sure what to say. I'm trying to suggest she unmute, but that button doesn't work either.
Hmm.
Oh, but we do have again Deborah. So
Yeah, if they don't mind, can you just do like a group release when unpleasant things happen? Like
When
how to,
unpleasant,
yeah,
when unpleasant things happen.
when unpleasant things happen beyond your control.
Okay, I can do my best. Yes. And I'm going to just suggest Susan go out and back in, because sometimes when I have problems and can't get something to work on Zoom, that does the trick. So when unpleasant things happen beyond your control. I guess everybody's experienced that in life at times. So could you just allow yourself to think about something in life that felt unpleasant, something that felt beyond your control, that you really didn't want to be the way that it was? And can you welcome all the thoughts and feelings that arise now in this moment for that? And can you notice if there's any sense of wanting to change it or wishing it hadn't been like that? So could you welcome that sense of wanting to change if it's there? And then would you allow that to dissolve? Could you let that sense of wanting to change just as best you can? Could you let it release, dissolve, or fade away? And could you welcome any remaining memories of these things that haven't gone the way that you wanted them to? Unpleasant things that happened. And can you welcome any fear or expectation of that happening again? Could you welcome that sense of expecting bad things to happen? And could you notice how that feels in your body to be expecting things to happen, that fear? And then could you give your body some love for feeling that way? And would you allow the sensations to release? And expectations are one of the main ways that fear can show up in our lives because we expect, if something has happened in the past in a certain way that we didn't like, we quite often expect it to keep recurring again. And so it keeps the fear alive in our mind. And Hale has done some absolutely wonderful releases on that. It's been actually some of the things that have helped me personally more than anything else. Is just noticing the way that the mind expects problems. So can you just allow yourself to notice if that's there just now? That expectation of problems, the expectation of things going wrong. And would you rather hold on to that expectation, or would it be okay just to set it free, just to allow it to dissolve? And if your mind is saying, I don't know how to do that, just know you don't need to know. It's just, are you willing? Is it okay if it dissolves? So as best you can, and just for now, could you just allow that expectation to release? And we'll go through that a couple more times. So just notice what the mind is expecting. And could you just welcome that? Could you welcome all the images of things you don't want in your life? And could you notice how that holds them in your mind? And then could you just allow that to release as best you can, and just in this moment? And don't worry if there's still more thoughts coming up. You're always just doing it as best you can, and just in this moment. So again, could you just welcome any sense or expectation of challenges or difficulties or things that you don't want to happen in your life? Could you just allow yourself to feel what that feels like, to have those images and thoughts running through your mind? In particular, maybe pay attention to the images as well. That's another way that we hold on, is with images. So could you just allow yourself to fully get a sense of what that feels like, to be expecting problems? And could you even give the mind some love for all it's trying to prepare you, all it's trying to figure out what to do? And then would it be okay to let that release and to notice what's here in this moment? What's here right now when all that thinking falls away? What's here right now when there's no thinking about problems? And maybe your mind feels a little bit quieter now, or it might still be feeling fear and saying this is all very well, but this is not going to last. So could you welcome that expectation too? Because that's another expectation. Could you welcome expecting your mind to start up, cause more problems? And then could you just allow that to dissolve as best you can? And just in this moment. And could you give the mind some love for all it's trying to help you and protect you and keep you safe? And then could you allow yourself, just as best you can, right in this moment, to feel a sense of love or safety or compassion, whatever feels right for you? Could you just allow that in this moment? And could you welcome any remaining sense of expectation, any fear? And then could you also, as best you can, just allow the sense of openness, of love, of compassion, of ease? And welcome any remaining sense of fear, doubt, any memories, any expectations. And then could you also welcome the compassion, the love, the freedom that you are? And could you allow any remaining sense of expectation just to be held in that love, in that compassion? And could you rest just as best you can as that compassion or love in this moment. Thank you. How was that, Deborah?
That was fantastic.
Good. So maybe that wasn't exactly what you'd asked for, but I think it kind of was.
No, yeah, it really was. It
Oh,
was
good.
perfect in this moment. It was exactly what I needed. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I don't see any hands up, Yvonne.
No, I think sometimes silence is really good too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm still floating on releasing on expectations.
Ah, good.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, I do see a hand up now. It looks like Alejandra.
Oh, there's
Unmute,
two up now.
please, and join us.
Oh,
Mhm.
and Susan is back. She's got a hand up now too.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
I saw Alejandra first.
Okay, that's fine. We'll go
Somebody
with that.
has to unmute and go first.
Mm.
I don't mind if Susan wants to go now. It's okay. Oh, hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Yvonne.
Hi.
Steve. I have a couple of issues. One, I have a friend who is not a friend anymore. This story is, and I don't know. I hurt her by ending our relationship, and I think I need to renew it.
Mm-hmm.
Because my son is getting married and she's an important person that was in his life. And I guess I just feel really badly about hurting her. She's a good person.
Okay.
And it was just, so I don't want to go on and on with the story. I don't know how I want to handle it. And I don't want to hurt her anymore or give her, I guess I was a very important person to her.
Mm-hmm.
So
you said that you feel badly about hurting her.
yeah, I do. It was like a breakup for her.
Mm-hmm. So is that guilt? Or what's the feeling that's underlying?
I guess so. Like it just was something I needed to do, and I tried to explain that, but you hurt somebody, you break up. It was like a breakup of a couple, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. She's someone I wouldn't have wanted to. I didn't want to hurt, but I did.
Okay, so you felt that you needed to no longer be friends with her, but in doing that, there's been hurt caused, and you feel badly about the hurt. Am I getting that correctly? Yeah. So
yeah, and then what's happened is that my son is getting married in about 6 months, and he wants to put her on the list because he's really friendly with her daughter, and she was very much a part of our life. And my reaction was, "Oh no, And then I thought, that's not right. He's important in his life.
Okay.
And I don't want to wait till the wedding to go, oh. So I guess I'm trying to control the situation.
Okay. And how's that working?
And how I want to try to figure out how I want to handle it.
Yeah.
And anyway, I think it's a lot of figuring out.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme today, doesn't it? There's been quite a lot of it. Yeah. So can you welcome that wanting to figure it out?
Mm-hmm.
And can you
And the
notice what
feeling
that?
bad, constantly feeling bad
Yeah.
is always there and always was there with her. I
Uh-huh.
always, so, so
So you were
anyway,
feeling
yeah.
bad with her and you're feeling bad without her, is what you're saying.
So I always felt bad that I couldn't be the kind of friend she wanted. I couldn't respond to her. I didn't want to
Okay.
do things with her as much as she, and so I had, anyway, yeah. So you're right. That's a good point. It was always
Uh-huh.
feeling bad. Yeah, badly. That's
Yeah.
why I think I did. Yeah.
So that feeling that you're describing as feeling bad, can you welcome that?
Yeah. Mhm.
And can you welcome wanting to do anything about it, either wanting to get rid of it by changing the circumstances in your life, or to hold on to it and try and figure out what it means, why it's there?
Trying
Is
to
there-
renew it because
I'm
Oh.
talking about the specifics of the feeling bad, because
Oh,
it's
yeah,
there.
okay.
Yeah. And there's a lot
Right.
of kind of, yeah. So can you
Got it.
welcome any resistance to that feeling bad?
yeah, I can. I definitely feel resistant to feeling bad.
Okay. And then can you welcome any holding on to it?
Yes, I've been holding on to it for a long
Yeah.
time.
Uh-huh. And can you welcome any sense that it's personal, that it's you, or it's part of you, or it means something about you?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
a good question. Like,
And if this feeling wasn't here, would you still exist?
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
could still exist, right?
And would you
But
be
but
diminished in
you're
any
pointing
way?
to like that feeling is like many things. It's like I have to have that feeling to exist, right?
Well, it's just
It's
sometimes we think that
it feels
literally
like
if we let it go, we would no longer exist.
yeah,
So it's a
yeah.
good thing to notice. Yeah.
No, that's great. Like
Yeah. So,
when I think of her, that's it, and it reinforces that whole thing.
mm. So would it be
And then
okay to let this feeling bad feeling go?
oh, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be really amazing.
Yeah. And do you think you could let it go? Would that be possible?
Oh, I think I could. Yeah, I
Mm.
want to, because it's not serving any purpose.
And when would you let it go?
Uh, it's very stuck.
Okay, so there's
Yeah,
still some
I'm
wanting to
realizing
hold on to feeling bad. Okay.
it's just your questions are helping me to see how stuck it is. Yeah.
Okay. So can you welcome that feeling of it being stuck? Or can you just allow it or notice it? You've noticed it. That's enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can notice it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And does
can't really
that
let it
feel
go.
personal, like that stuckness is part of you?
Yes.
And if that wasn't here, would you still exist?
Uh, huh. Hmm. It feels. I mean, I know I would still exist, but it feels like I wouldn't.
Okay, good. I mean, not good that it
Mm.
feels like that, but good
Yeah.
that you're noticing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you welcome how much it feels like that is part of you, that feeling stuck is who you are?
Mm.
Yeah. And how much of it could you let go? Could you let go of 5% of it and still exist?
I just imagined a quiche with a crust. I go, okay, I'll let the crust, part of the crust go,
Okay, good. Oh, good.
Yeah, I could let some of it fall off.
Good. Good, good. So that crust is beginning to dissolve away.
Yeah.
And what's remaining of this feeling of stuck?
A lot. The
Okay.
big quiche.
It's a
like
big
huge.
quiche. Okay.
Or pizza, whatever.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Um,
So could you give it some love for being there? Welcome it fully.
yeah.
Yeah. And so there is love there as well as the feeling of stuckness.
That's so weird to think that there's love there for something that's painful.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I guess I must like it because I'm holding on to it, right?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
that's right. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that.
So that feeling of being stuck, if it wasn't here, what would you have? What would be here instead?
Unstuck.
Okay. And what does that look like or feel
The
like?
lack of that feeling. The lack of that feeling.
And what would that look like?
Disappearance.
Sorry?
Would it physically look like? What would it look like?
Or what would it look like or feel like? How would you feel without that stuck feeling?
I would feel lighter.
Okay, so
When
can you welcome?
when she came, her name or anything about her came up. Yeah.
So can you welcome any sense of lightness right now that you can feel, however tiny it might be?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And can you welcome the feeling of stuckness?
Mm-hmm.
Can you just allow that? And then can you also welcome the lightness just as best you can?
Mm-hmm.
Can you welcome the feeling of stuckness just as much as it's still here? And can you welcome the lightness?
Mm-hmm.
Can you welcome the stuckness? Can it be allowed to be here?
Mm-hmm.
And then can you welcome the lightness?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible for the stuckness to dissolve into the lightness?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so could you welcome any remaining sense of stuckness? And then can you welcome the lightness? Can you allow the stuckness just to dissolve into the lightness? In the same way that a river dissolves into an ocean. How's that now?
It's better. I just saw like an energy just mixing with stuckness and unstuckness, just like
Yes.
dissolve.
Good,
That's
good.
when we use the dissolve word. I think that was really helpful. Thank you.
How's
I'll
the
keep
quiche?
working
How's
on
the
that.
quiche now?
It's almost gone.
Does that feel complete?
Yeah, it wasn't that good anyway.
Sorry?
It wasn't that good anyway.
The quiche.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, Yvonne. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. Not seen you for a while.
Yeah.
Does that feel
Thanks.
like
Yes, I feel much better. It feels like there's been some
something
change,
shifting?
a little bit like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good, good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I do believe Alejandra has her hand up.
Yeah, do we still have time?
I'm okay for time.
Oh, thank you, Yvonne. Yeah, I would like some help with feelings of shame, guilt, and anger.
Okay.
I stopped talking to my siblings for the second time about 3 years ago. And some days I can feel love for them. Some days I can't. And there's a lot of shame involved.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that feeling of shame, first of all, have you read any of the things that Hale has said about guilt and shame and how they're basically IOUs for punishment. That when we feel these feelings, we're expecting punishment, and so we punish ourselves.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I want to punish myself for sure. Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
I'm bad. And because I'm bad,
Yeah.
I don't deserve many things, including my goals that I'm trying to accomplish. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that sense of punishing yourself to try and make you good, I'm guessing?
Trying to make me what? I'm sorry.
Make yourself good. Is that the reason for punishing yourself? To try and be better, to try and be good?
No, because I practically don't have a family, so I'm feeling less than or that shame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, even when I meet new people, it's very embarrassing.
Okay. Okay.
And I know
So-
I did the right thing for me, of course, but all of this is the feelings are is that double thinking that's going on.
Okay. So that feeling of shame, can you feel are you feeling that right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you allow it to be here just for a moment? And it may be quite uncomfortable, but is it okay just in this moment for it to be here?
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah. And is there wanting rid of it, trying to get it gone? Is there any of that?
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, it's like I just feel tired of
Yes,
being
of
there.
course. Yes,
Yeah.
of course. So can you welcome that wanting rid of it, all that effort to try and get it going?
Yeah.
And then is there also holding on, like justifying why you feel the way you do, and telling yourself why you should feel that way? It sounded like there was earlier. Is there still some of
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So can
Like
you allow
that punishment you is what you're
the
referring to?
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
quite often justify. One of the ways that we hold on to things is we justify why we feel the way we do, and we tell ourselves we should feel like this because, and
Yeah.
that keeps it all stuck. That keeps it basically still stuck. The problem remains because we're telling ourselves why we should have it. So, but if we try to then get rid of that, that's just another piece to get stuck on. So can you welcome all that justifying? Can you kind of even maybe give your mind a little bit of compassion for how much it's been trying to help you by telling you why you should feel the way you do or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then does the shame feel very personal, that it means something about you?
Everything.
Yeah. Okay. So can you notice that feeling that it's personal, how personal it feels? Can you just allow yourself to notice that in this moment?
Yeah, it hurts, but yeah.
And what if it's meaningless? What if it doesn't actually mean anything about you at all? What if it's just a feeling?
It feels great.
So would it be okay to let that feeling go, that feeling of shame?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And could you decide you've been punished enough?
I've been punished myself enough. Yes.
Good.
Yeah. So relieving. Yeah.
Good. And could you open to the possibility of treating yourself with loving kindness?
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And I'm going to actually take you to something that you said. And at one point you said that it's embarrassing when you meet new people.
Yeah.
So without that feeling of shame and with loving kindness instead, can you see how that would be different?
When meeting new people, if I bring
Yes,
that love and
if you-
kindness.
Yes, if you treated yourself with loving kindness, what would that look like and how would it feel?
Very loving, very compassionate.
Good. So could you do that now in this moment? Just open to that loving kindness.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that feel?
Very loving and
Good.
peaceful. Yeah.
Good. Thank you for sharing that, because I think it's amazing to see how quickly it shifted for you And
It will, because this really works magic. I'm just so
mm,
I mean, yeah, all of this is miraculous the way that it works. Yeah.
yeah, it is. And it's
Mhm.
just wonderful to witness as well. And I think for everyone on the call, it's really good to be able to see something that felt so painful shift so quickly.
Incredible. Mhm.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Yvonne, for guiding me.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
I think that's maybe everyone now.
I don't see any hands up.
Mm. Thank you, everyone that spoke, and even those of you that didn't. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'll just end my bit by just saying, just notice what's here when thinking falls away.
Wonderful. Well, in that case, I guess that must mean that it's time for anybody who wants to unmute themselves, say goodbye, thank you, whatever. And thank you, Yvonne. Thank you for
Yes, thank you, Yvonne. It was
Yvonne.
wonderful, a wonderful session.
Stephen.
Yeah, very helpful.
Very
And thanks
Thank
for
you.
and thanks for your service, Stephen. Just
Of
hosting the
course.
call.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Stephen.
Thank you
Thank
to
you.
Stephen. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us. Definitely.
all.
Listen,
Thank
I
you,
will.
Yvonne.
Hey, everyone.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you all. Have
Ciao,
a
ciao.
wonderful weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Bye.